Hello and welcome. This is Nigeria Today on TVC News. We are staying with the security situation in Benue State, where at least 23 persons have been killed as suspected herders invaded Mbadwim and Tiotu communities in Taraka local government area. The Chief Press Secretary to the State Governor, Nathaniel Ikiru, confirmed the killings in a statement today. According to the statement, about 8 persons were killed in Mbadwim, while 15 others lost their lives in Tiotu. Apart from the killings, the governor's aide confirmed several others were injured and have been taken to a hospital for treatment. Governor Samuel Otom condemned the killings, calling on the security agencies to do more in crime prevention and protect the lives and properties of the people in the state. And in Kaduna, family members of victims who were kidnapped during the train attack in the state have given the federal government a 72-hour ultimatum to rescue their loved ones unhurt. The relatives are threatening to explore other means if the government fails to do so within the stipulated time. According to them, the terrorists have insisted on negotiating only with the government. Lupe Asom reports.
Flow freely. It has been 15 torturous days for these people whose loved ones were abducted by terrorists during the train attack on the 28th of March. Most of them say they now find it difficult to sleep, knowing their loved ones are languishing in the bandits' custody. Seeing some of them surrounded by armed bandits in the latest video released by the terrorists only make matters worse.
So we are assuming that there should be about 140 people that are still in captivity. We are just like living corpses. You know, it can be very agonizing not to know the conditions of your loved ones. These are people in the bush.
President Muhammadu Buhari, please come to our aid. Please, we are begging. This is barely 15 days. We're begging. Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, you're a mother. If you're a mother, you know the cry of a baby. You know the cry.
They say the terrorists are only willing to negotiate with the government and have for 12 days refused to talk to them. But they are unhappy with the way the situation is being handled by the government and the Nigerian Railway Corporation.
We expected that by now, the government, the Nigerian Railway Corporation, the Ministry of Transportation, they are supposed to have identified relatives of these victims and address us to tell us what efforts they are making to rescue our loved ones, what they want that they want to discuss with government, that they have something between them and government. We don't know what they have. It is now an opportunity for government, it's a window of opportunity for government to rescue our loved ones by opening channels of communication with them. This is not out of place. It is done anywhere in the world.
They are giving the government 72 hours to respond and secure their loved ones unhurt. Failure to do so, they say, will leave them with no option but to explore other means.
72 hours to do what is necessary to bring out our loved ones. In the event that they fail to do it, we are ready to do what is necessary to secure our loved ones. But we know government is in a better position to do it.
They also say prayers for those abducted, calling on God to come to their rescue. Lupe Asom, TVC News, Kaduna.
Staying in Kaduna, the military and police authorities have clarified that the people arrested in the viral video, which circulated on social media over the weekend, were herders mistaken for bandits. The State Commissioner of Police, Yakini Ayoko, said it was a case of mistaken identity, stating that the herders were apprehended by Kakura Community Vigilante Group, who met them in a forest and assumed they were the terrorists who killed their traditional leader. Stakeholders from the Fulani, Gwari, and Kakura communities, all in Chikun Local Council, have been brought together by the Kaduna State government to resolve their differences. The district heads were charged to discourage their subject from taking the laws into their hands. Meanwhile, the injured herders have been taken to the 44 Nigerian Army Reference Hospital for treatment.
Narrations of both sides was now discovered that it was purely a case of mistaken identity, where the vigilante of the community now clashed with the Fulanis who are in search of their roasted cattle, roasted by the bandits. The injured are now in the 44 Reference Hospital, military hospital, being treated, and that's the correct situation. So these people who are taken to the hospital are not bandits, but rather both sides are victims of bandits.
With the rising insecurity in the country, lawmakers have made fresh calls for proactive measures to ensure safety of residents in affected areas. The lawmakers condemned the killing of more than 100 citizens by bandits in a border town between Taraba and Plateau State. National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa reports.
May the soul of this peaceful departed rest in perfect peace.
A minute of silence for the repose of the souls of the over 100 persons said to have been killed by suspected bandits in parts of Taraba and Plateau states. The lawmakers called for more security presence in the affected areas before it degenerates.
The recent wanton killings and kidnapping in Baligasol Federal Constituency and other communities in Taraba and neighboring Plateau has claimed over 150 lives, several others injured, properties worth millions of naira destroyed, with over 5,000 internally displaced persons.
A bill to prohibit child trafficking and baby factories in the nation's capital, sponsored by Lagos member Samuel Adejari, received the support of members.
We don't have laws in our status books to govern the administration and registration of these orphanages in Federal Capital Territory. And this law will surely do this. And we will put to rest all these illegalities.
This bill, when it's passed, is going to curb this menace. And there shall be sanctions for people who do this kind of things.
The House also moved closer to repealing the 63-year-old Nigeria Customs Act for a new law as the legislators adopted the report of its Committee on Customs.
Notable legislative initiatives in this bill are as follows. 1A, collation of all customs and excise legislation into a single compendium of Custom and Excise Acts to facilitate easy reference, easy knowledge-driven custom and excise policies.
A motion for more public sensitization and registration of births and deaths for proper demographic planning was also unanimously passed.
The National Population Commission has only managed to register the birth of 57% of children under the age of 5, thus making it difficult for government to plan adequately for their medical, nutritional.
A bill seeking to establish a trust fund for the NYSC to provide sustainable source of funds and skills acquisition now awaits presidential assent. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.
Away from security issues, 2 senatorial seats at the National Assembly have now been declared vacant. This follows the formal resignation of Senator Abdullah Adamu, representing Nasarawa West, and Abubakar Kyari, representing Borno North. The lawmakers tendered the resignation letters to the President of the Senate, Ahmad Lawan, informing him of their new roles as National Chairman and Deputy National Chairman of the Governing All Progressives Congress. Tijisu Adeoye reports.
At the National Assembly, 2 lawmakers officially tendered their resignation letters to assume their new roles at the APC Secretariat ahead of the 2023 general election.
Consequent upon my victory as National Chairman at the just concluded convention of our great party, the All Progressives Congress APC, on the 26th of March 2022, I hereby formally resign as a Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, representing Nasarawa West Senatorial District with effect from 1st April 2022. Distinguished Senator Abubakar Kyari, Chairman, Senate Committee on Federal Capital Territory, representing Borno Senatorial District. Your Excellency, letter of resignation. I'm writing formally to inform Your Excellency of my resignation from the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as the Senator representing Borno Senatorial District.
In another development, Abia North lawmaker and the Chief Whip of the Nigerian Senate, Senator Oji Uzo Kalu, at a separate event where he briefed the press, talked about what Nigerians should demand from political candidates vying for any elective position. He says politics is no joke and should be defined by public experience, capacity to build and manage people, and the ability to satisfy all parties.
Politics is not just its ability to make everybody happy. That is what it's all about. It's not who becomes president. President is about openness, is about ability to manage you journalists, ability to manage mechanics, ability to manage professors, ability to manage legislators like Ahmed Lawa. You have to manage them. These are what politics is all about.
Now that the 2 Senate seats have been declared vacant, the Independent National Electoral Commission is expected to publish a new timetable for the conduct of a by-election in these constituencies to fill the vacant seats. From the National Assembly, Tijesu Adeoye, TVC News, Abuja.
In Katsina, the All Progressives Congress has won 31 out of the 34 chairmanship seats contested in the just concluded local council elections. Similarly, all the councillorship seats from the 31 local governments were also won by the party. TVC News correspondent Abdulatif Yusuf reports that the State Independent Electoral Commission gave the declaration in the early hours of Tuesday, hours after the election.
The pronouncement by the electoral umpire brings to an end the long-drawn battle between divergent interest groups vying for the local government positions in the state. As will be expected, the unfolding political events in the state, APC and other political parties that participated in the race were more concerned about the progress the election will bring. This is in spite of the initial allegations by the opposition parties against the state government. The delay in deployment of electoral materials was seen by many as a threat to disfranchise people, an allegation the state government denied. The secretary of the State Independent Electoral Commission, in a press conference at the commission's office in Katsina, announced the results.
The commission has so far received complete results of 31 local governments. 321 was awaiting that of Puntua and Daura, where election in those local governments has been cancelled based on the reason mentioned above. The Commission therefore wishes to further announce that the All Progressive Council APC has won all the 31 chairmanship and 328 council seats so far collected.
The election in Dutsama Local Government Council was cancelled due to some security issues, while 2 others are being awaited. Abdulatif Yusuf, TVC News, Katsina.
Back. Staying with politics, governorship aspirants of the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State have agreed to work together to ensure victory for the party at the polls in 2023. They acceded to this decision after their last meeting held in Port Harcourt. Senior reporter Uchi Okoro has details.
In March 2023, more than 2 million registered voters in Rivers State will return to the polling units to elect a new governor. Even though the polls are still about 11 months away, the All Progressives Congress is not leaving anything to chance with its determination to win. These party chieftains all have an ambition to govern the state, and some have been given that opportunity in the past as flag bearers. But having lost out in the last 2 governorship elections, they believe this is their chance to finally rewrite the APC story in Rivers State. The plan is for all of them to rally support for whoever eventually emerges as the candidate of the party.
As a way of respecting the party supremacy, the aspirants resolve that immediately a candidate emerges, all aspirants will put self and ego aside and collapse their various campaign structures into the party structure to support the flag bearer to win the 2023 elections for the APC in Rivers State.
The governor of Rivers State for the last 16 years has come from the Ikwere ethnic nationality, and so these APC aspirants are advocating zoning of the governorship ticket in 2023 to the riverine part of the state.
The progressive aspirants agreed to consult other stakeholders, elder statesmen, opinion leaders, and key politicians in the state to support power rotation into the riverine Ijaw come 2023 as a way of ensuring equity, justice, and fairness in the distribution of political offices.
So put the interest of Rivers State and our party first above our own personal considerations. That is the purpose of this joint statement.
What we have come to do here is simply to make a bold statement that it's morning again in Rivers State.
Tomorrow, you will have it on record that if any of us here does not support the candidate that emerges, then such a person lacks credibility. That's why we're doing what we're doing here.
The forum also appealed to all aggrieved members of the APC in Rivers State to embrace reconciliation in order to increase the party's chances of winning the governorship and legislative election. Uche Okoro, TVC News, Port Harcourt.
Now to the education sector. Labour and Employment Minister Chris Ngige has met with the committee mandated to renegotiate the 2009 federal government agreement with ASUU. The chairman of the committee, Nimi Briggs, relayed the extent of work done so far, but lamented it met with stumbling blocks. The minister listed the many efforts of government to make the striking university teachers cease reason and call off the nearly 2-month-old industrial action. He insists government does not have the needed funds to meet all the demands of the union.
At this evening, you are meeting with the 2009.
For more on this development, let's speak with ASUU President, Professor Emmanuel Oshodeke. Thank you for joining us on Nigeria Today. Again, ASUU has met with the federal government. What is your reaction to the response coming from the government?
Why did not meet with the federal government? We met with the federal government negotiation team.
Well, obviously, that's representative of the government meeting with ASUU to resolve the lingering industrial action.
You see, the negotiation is just one of the items on the issue on which we are on strike. So what we met with them is to discuss that aspect alone that has to do with the renegotiation in 2009 agreement. And from all indication, they didn't come with anything. They are not prepared.
Well, as it is,
all they came to tell us is their discussion with several groups and what the group are suggesting, which is different from the government position. The negotiation team was inaugurated by the Minister of Education on behalf of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But when they came to tell us what they got from National Salary and Wages, Ministry of Finance, those are immaterial. We want to hear from the minister who will be speaking on behalf of the federal government, and that was not done.
All right. So is your concern about meeting with the minister or getting a positive response from the government, whether through the minister or a representative of the ministry?
You see, we have an industrial dispute with the Federal Republic of Nigeria on about 7 issues: revitalization fund, in academic allowance, renegotiation, deployment of UTAS, proliferation of universities, release of the report of the decision panel, amongst others. But the renegotiation committee has to do with just renegotiation of agreement. And they have not got anything from the government on the issue on which we are on strike. So as at now, this strike is the 8 weeks, and nothing we have heard from the government. And that tells you they have really no interest about the education of Nigerian children.
All right. If we may focus on this renegotiation committee, which you've mentioned is just one of the issues ASUU is tabling before the federal government. The minister in that meeting mentioned that the government does not have the needed funds to meet the demands of ASUU. Are you willing to suspend or call off the strike so Nigerian students who've been home for over 2 months can get back to school?
Let me put it straight to you. This agreement was agreed upon in 2009, 13 years ago, and a salary component was one of the issues. And for 13 years, there is no review in the salary component. And when you remember, the depreciation in our currency from 2009 to date is about 300% depreciation. And the professor is still earning between 500 and 600 naira per month, which is this parlor state in which our university is. That we cannot attract any lecturer from any country in the world, any country in the world. The best brain are living. And you are talking about you don't have money. Meanwhile, they have money to do some other issue that have absolutely nothing to do with the benefits of Nigerian people. That's our crisis. So we believe that the government have enough money, if they are really serious about education, on how to resolve this issue for the benefit of these children, to enable this university attract the best brain from all over the world to teach our children, and we'll have the best quality of education, one of the best in the world. And what we are demanding for is very easy. We didn't say give us X, Y, Z. We said devote 15% of your annual budget to education, and you solve all the problem. But they said no, they are giving 5.4, the lowest in the whole world. They should tell us one country in the world that gives 5.4 of its budget to education,
right,
if
Prof.
they really take education seriously.
Okay, Prof. As it stands now, what is ASUU's next line of action?
No, we're already taking the final action, which is strike. It led to the government whether they want this strike call off, which they can do within the next 2 or 3 days. Can I tell you, a university in Nigeria, all the university in Nigerians, public are shut down. And Federal Executive Council met, and what they are discussing is establishment of 12 private universities and boastfully promoting private universities. That tells you where we have gotten to. All the universities in the country are shut down. All the students are at home. And what the FREC is discussing, it has to establish 12 private universities. It's so pitiful. And I'm so sad, and I'm so angry, I'm so sad, and I pity for the youth of this country.
Okay, let me quickly get your thoughts on this. Do you consider that the strike is having the needed effect in driving government to meet these agreements?
Let me give you this. If you look at the history of strike in Nigeria, if you are following, when ASUU goes on strike, first of all, government will pretend that nothing has happened, that everything is normal. After about 4 weeks or so, they will come with threat. No work, no pay, and what have you. And then after that, if it doesn't work with our member and has never worked, they'll come to discuss. So if you look at the history, we started 4 weeks strike, they didn't say anything. We are now in another 8-week strike. They have included the no work, no pay, as usual, that caused most of the doctors to leave this country, which is, we expected it, that the second phase is they will to do no work, no pay, they threaten us, they do everything, which is the normal thing. If you check from 1992 to today, the same thing. And finally, we believe that after this, their phase of threat, and if it does not work, our member will go and start doing taxi driving, do all sorts of things to feed their family. At this critical time, they will come back to discuss.
Well, one big question on the lips of many is if students and the general public is with ASUU on this or with the federal government. Professor Oshoduke is the president of ASUU. Thank you for joining us on Nigeria Today.
Thank you very much.
Still looking at the education sector, the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, says Nigeria is presently facing learning poverty, with 70% of its 10-year-old children unable to understand a simple sentence or perform basic numeracy tasks. The UNICEF Chief of Field Office, Kano, made this known at a 2-day media dialogue organized for journalists by UNICEF on SDG as a child right. Helen Osamede Akins reports.
Education is the right of every Nigerian child, but several children today are deprived of these, with little or nothing being done. 1 in every 5 of the world's out-of-school children is in Nigeria, despite primary education being free and compulsory. Over 10 million Nigerian children are estimated to be out of school. A study facilitated by the United Nations Children's Fund shows that despite improved access as a result of the Basic Education Act, 70% of Nigerian students in school are not learning. UNICEF warns that this may degenerate into a grave learning crisis in Nigeria.
Achieving basic learning outcomes at the foundational level of education is key. It is clear that to improve learning outcomes in Nigeria, achieving basic foundational skills at that level of learning cannot be overemphasized.
The federal government is advised to focus more on the Child's Rights Act to achieve sustainable development goals on education.
As in every other field in Nigeria, there are policies but please implement it. Who is oversighting it?
UNICEF believes in order to address the learning crisis, there must be a structural approach and constant data assessment in the country. Helena Samede Kings. TVC News, Abuja.
That's Nigeria Today. Thank you for staying with us. Do join us at 10 for more updates.